So the Leadership Consortium owes its name and its origin from the fact that a consortium is in essence a grouping and a collective of ideas and thoughts. And it's embedded in the fact that leadership per se is not normally in the hands of one person. It should be a collective, it should involve different perspectives, it should involve a broad spectrum of what is possible from the leadership perspective. The Zenger-Folkman family of colleagues around the world represent a broad group of people who are playing in the leadership space. And our Australian colleagues, Terry Reynolds and Glenn Price, have done a magnificent job in putting together a set of podcasts that address the questions and the recipes within the Zenger-Folkman methodology. These podcasts represent step-by-step, short, bite-sized, normally about 3 to 4 minutes, ideas, concepts, and tips and tricks as to how we can build our extraordinary leadership. So our invitation is to enjoy these podcasts, squeeze as much value as you can out of them, and make it part of building your leadership stepway to extraordinary. Episode 21 in our podcast series talks about taking initiative. It's again probably true to say that many of us as South African leaders find it quite easy to point our fingers and saying they should have done this or they should have done that. This epitomizes the typical approach and attitude to leaders who are not taking initiative. Our fifth fatal flaw is crucially important in that unless we address taking initiative, taking responsibility and accountability, we too will find ourselves not being able to develop our strengths and become the ultimate extraordinary leader that we desire to be.
Welcome to the Leadership Digital podcast series with Glenn Price and Terry Reynolds.
The fifth fatal flaw is the failure to make things happen. Aspiring leaders who lack initiative drive a huge nail into their own career coffins. Leaders must create and deliver results. They must be on the forefront of creating needed change. One measure of a leader's effectiveness is the number of initiatives he or she personally champions. What projects has this leader started? What outcomes has this leader's fingerprints all over them? What has happened that would not have occurred had this leader not have been present? The leader with initiative stops to consider the current reality and asks several questions. 1. What is missing that would make a big difference? 2. What needs to be done that only I can do? 3. What could I do to make a significant difference to the performance of this work team or project team? 4. If I had to pick one action step, what would it be? And 5. What are others expecting me to do? This leader then steps in and makes those things happen. This is a totally different approach from the leader who waits and responds to events after they happen. Action-oriented leaders must act like surfers. They need to be positioned in front of the wave to get the thrilling ride. Surfers who are a second too slow simply bob up and down in the ocean waiting for the next wave. Getting out in front is where extraordinary leaders must be. We recommend that leaders take the initiative to implement a change in their organizations. And that change could be as simple as implementing a new reporting system, or it could be as complex and complicated as a new organizational structure. As Machiavelli noted, there is nothing more difficult to carry out, nor more doubtful of success, nor more dangerous to manage than to initiate a new order of things. But nothing builds leadership skills so effectively as the process of initiating change. Taking initiative requires the following 3 steps. So here's your tips. 1. Study the organizational landscape. What changes are needed? Where should the organization be right now? Try to think several steps ahead. 2. Make an action plan. Determine what outcomes you plan to achieve and how you plan to achieve them. After implementing the change, evaluate how well the change succeeded. Ask for some feedback. What would work better next time? And lastly, number 3, don't wait for more responsibility. Simply take it. In one of the best studies of powerful developmental experiences, Anna Valerio concluded that nothing has more impact on a leader's development than being given a broader scope in his or her current assignment. Broader responsibility can be granted or it can be self-generated. Try applying for a new technology transfer, implementing a new procedure, or volunteering to do more. Remember the famous words Henry Ford once said, "You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. You can only build it on what you've done."
It's a pleasure to be able to share these thoughts and ideas with you and hopefully be part of allowing you to adopt a journey where extraordinary leadership is an opportunity and a growth area for you and your teams.